In front of me, I have a whole load of ingredients to make absolutely no sense going together, which can only mean I'm making a Long Island iced tea. Today we're making the Long Island iced tea. A little bit about the origin of this drink. It's not really sure where it comes from. Some people say that it was created by a guy called Robert Butt in 1972 for a cocktail competition. Other people claim it dates all the way back to Prohibition, and that it was a way of hiding booze and disguising it as iced tea to get away with drinking. All we know is that today it is synonymous with going out and partying hard. It's synonymous with drinking, it's synonymous with getting people drunk, it's synonymous with 18th birthdays and cheap clubs. But today, we're going to try and make a slightly better version while still retaining the Long Island iced tea that we know and love. We're going to start off with a cocktail shake of this. Traditionally, this drink features 5 spirits in equal measures. There will be gin, vodka, rum, tequila, and curacao or triple sec or orange liqueur. We're going to keep those 5 spirits, but we're going to mix the ratios up to make a hopefully better cocktail. So we're going to start off with the 2 spirits that will be the main flavors, that will be the dominant ones in this cocktail, and that is gin and white rum. The reason I've chose these is because they actually pair really well together. So we've picked a classic London dry gin here. It's got some nice citrusy notes to it. It's got plenty of juniper. We're going to put 15 milliliters. Now for the white rum, you want to pick something quite flavorful, something hot still, something with a little bit of kind of funk and character to it. I'm using Ninefold, which is made in Scotland, but it's flavorful, it's well-rounded, it's bold, and it's going to stand up with the fact that we're adding so many other flavors to this and still kind of punch through. We're going to add 15 milliliters of this as well. Next up is the vodka element. Now, I really couldn't get my head around why vodka's in this drink other than to just add more alcohol. It doesn't have enough flavor to really bring anything to this cocktail unless you use a really weird, really funky vodka. So what I went with is a citrus vodka. So I'm using Grey Goose Orange. You can use a citron vodka, you can use an orange vodka, but I think something with a little bit of sharpness to it works really well. And we're gonna add 10 milliliters of that. And honestly, I think the spirit that does the least for this drink is tequila. I couldn't really figure out how it has a place in it, so we're gonna add 5 mil just for the sake of still calling it a Long Island iced tea. And lastly, we're adding 10 milliliters of orange liqueur. Now, I'm using a homemade curacao. You can use dry curacao, you can use triple sec, you can use Cointreau, whatever you enjoy. And we'll add 10 milliliters of that. Now, that's our 5 spirits in. Let's add 2 little pairings just to balance this cocktail out. We're gonna add 10 milliliters of lemon juice, 10 milliliters of just simple syrup. So 10 milliliters of lemon, 10 milliliters of simple syrup. Now we're gonna shake this up. So now we've got this nice and cold, we've added a bit of dilution. We're gonna strain that over ice into a highball glass. I'm gonna double strain it just to get all those little chips of ice out and make sure it's nice and smooth. So when I was coming up with this cocktail, I was using a different, slightly less pretty glass. So I swapped to this one for the video and it turns out it's way too big. So we're gonna dump this across and pretend like this never happened. Perfect. So now that we've strained it into the glass that we picked perfectly for this drink, we're going to top this with cola. This is really where I think a lot of people go wrong with making a Long Island iced tea. They use a cola that's maybe not the best quality and they put way too much of it, at which point you muddy and you hide every other flavor in it. So use a decent cola. Brands like Fever Tree, Fentimans are really great. They make delicious colas. I'm using Coca-Cola's Bartender Signature Mixer series. This is the herbal one. It works great in this drink. And we're going to measure the cola. Another mistake people make is putting way too much cola in it and just burying everything else under it. We're going to put 45 milliliters of cola. Don't do the whole thing of floating one on top of the other. It just makes it taste bad. It looks kind of cool, but doesn't do anything for the drink. So give it a little stir. I didn't bring a spoon, but we're making Long Island iced teas, and this is fine. And you know what? We're going to garnish this drink with a little lemon wheel just to finish it off and make it look a little bit prettier. And there you have it. That's how you make a Long Island iced tea. Let's stop the clock and give it a taste. It's not a bad drink. I still think cutting and changing the ingredients a lot more could help it. But actually, once you change those ratios around, it does start to become a bit more interesting. Once you drop that level of Coke down. The orange liqueur and the orange vodka do bring a nice kind of fruitiness in there. And like I said, the tequila really doesn't fit in that much, so the 5 ml isn't adding anything, but it makes it a Long Island iced tea, I guess. This isn't a drink I ever really order in bars. I had to make them a lot when I worked in bars, and every now and then when I'm out with people, they'll buy a round of them and I'll have one. But I've never enjoyed drinking one. But I think this is the first time that I've made one that I'll happily sit and drink it. And maybe if I've got people over who aren't into complicated cocktails, I'll whip up a round of these and we'll all enjoy them. So if you're someone who loves drinking Long Island iced teas when you're out, give this recipe a go at home and maybe you'll enjoy it more than the ones you've had in bars. And if you're someone who enjoys cocktails and maybe you've always turned your nose up at Long Island iced teas, give them another chance. It can be this recipe as a starting point, but you can always mix up the spirits however you think they work, and maybe you'll come out with something that is really quite nice. It's really growing on me. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, feel free to leave a like and hit subscribe if you want to see more cocktail content from me. Feel free to drop a comment below with what cocktail you want to see me make next. And in the meantime, feel free to follow me on Instagram at todays_tipple, where I post new cocktails, new recipes every single day. Cheers. I actually quite like it.